Welcome back. Marvel Spider-Man is without a doubt my favorite iteration of the character. And I wanted to take a look back at this game series in retrospect and share my personal thoughts on it from now all the way back to the first time I played it. So for those who haven't played the game and are watching this video for some reason, or just need a refresher, the first game starts with our main man, PDP, Pete Out from the Block, in his very obviously lived-in apartment, trying to make some shit shake with this New York rent. And from the jump, you can see a lot of what makes this game special. There's so much character, so much sauce that you don't get from a lot of modern Spider-Man material. The game knows you're here for Spider-Man and they give it to you in spades. He's instantly faced with his classic dilemma to focus on his life as Peter Parker or his responsibility as Spider-Man. It's poetic. It gets the people going. And of course, with the swell of some great music, he remembers the name of the game. Alright, I'm gonna cut that right there on account of the copyright. But masterclass introduction aside, this might be one of the best starting missions of all time. To this day, I still get hyped when that R2 prompt comes up. Moving on, the game introduces you to the core mechanics of the game. You bully a few goons and make your way to take out Kingpin and do it in cinematic Spider-Man fashion.
So, should we kiss now?
And from there, the game continues its story with a bunch of villains from Spider-Man's history. It builds relationships, strengthens ones any fan would be familiar with, blah, blah, blah. This ain't a summary video. Do yourself a favor if you haven't played the game, and go ahead and change your life. Anywho, speaking of playing the game, let's talk gameplay. This could be a kind of hot take. Kind of, I guess, more of a room temperature take. I still feel like this first game is still the closest someone can get to really feeling like Spider-Man.
I feel like Spider-Man nearly every step of the way.
What?
The mobility is fluid and acrobatic. You're given a big portion of a lively city to traverse. It's easy to pick up and play, but all the little extra mechanics give you a lot of room for creativity. Let me give you an example. I tried to get my girlfriend, who is not a gamer by any means I should mention, to play this game. And for the first like 20 minutes, she can barely figure out what the buttons do. She might as well be playing Mad. And I, decided to take a nap while she figures it out. And when I woke up...
What you got for me today, New York?
She's zip-zapping around and I can't believe my eyes. But the point there being, it's intuitive as shit. And the combat has its own unique flavor to the sequel, or even past Spider-Man games. And while you can make an argument that some of those combat systems are better, I think what they landed on with the basically remixed Arkham combat really fits the world they created. At least for the first game, but we'll get to that. I also like that it's not just one-for-one Arkham combat. It's got all these cancelable moves and different animations for doing stuff slightly differently. I'm not talking about the bullshit where it's just someone pressing a bunch of buttons. There's just a certain fluidity and sauce that I like about the first game's combat. That feels cinematic at times, especially with the multi-finishers they used to have. I hate that they got rid of that. It never really felt overpowered to me, and if it was, who cares? That shit looks sick as fuck. And as far as other aspects of gameplay, like puzzles and MJ missions, they're fine. They only take away from the experience upon replay because it breaks up the Spider-Man shit that you're really there for. And you don't really want that in a game called Spider-Man. But the rest of the side content is gas. Well, mostly. The bases are some nice punchy fun, the side missions and collectibles give the city life and story, so there's incentive to do everything. And all the little details they have in there really go a long way. Stuff that probably gets skimmed over, but I appreciate that attention to detail. And that's the reason I love this game so much. It feels as if someone took everything I wanted Spider-Man to be and delivered to me in the form of about 35 hours of fun. Incredible story and characterization, banger soundtrack, iconic new suit that has ingrained itself into the public consciousness, not to mention one of the best trailers to ever grace my screen. I love this fucking game. Shame it never got a sequel. Okay. Let me preface that I do not hate Marvel Spider-Man 2. I kind of loved it, but it was also very disappointing in some aspects. And for the sake of this video, I'm probably going to skip the Miles game because I assume most people watching have probably played it. But I'm going to skim over a few things because they relate to things I think Spider-Man 2 suffer from. Okay, so quick interjection about the Miles game. It's his solo debut, and you get a lot of the same goodness from the first game, along with some extras to gameplay like the new abilities and with shorter runtime. And it leveled up the tricking system from the first game so much that it's basically become a new integral part of the swinging. Story-wise, it's cool, and the characterization is still for the most part how I'd like it to be. Peter, for all 3 minutes he's in the game, still seems like the same guy from the first game. And then came 2. Believe me when I say I have never been more excited for a game launch than this game. And upon the first playthrough, I did notice a ton of things that I looked at kind of but I loved playing through the game the first time. But it's got a ton of flaws that I'm sure everyone's quick to point out, but I want to throw in my 2 cents. So let me start with the bread and butter, the gameplay.
Yes, 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 yes! Can you take me higher?
While the addition of the extra swinging moves and web wings makes this feel like easily one of the best traversal systems of all time, I kind of still like some of the other Spider-Man game styles for a few reasons. For starters, Spider-Man 1 swinging is slower, but also feels more grounded and parkour-like, which I still enjoy doing in 2, but feels counterintuitive when I can fly at Mach fuck. And the acrobatic stuff is something I really enjoy about Spider-Man as a character. Take Web of Shadows, for example. I think there's a lot they could have taken from that game to bolster the gameplay from the first game. And I'm not saying they should have just straight up robbed everything from there, But I am saying, okay, that's exactly what I'm saying. We could have had wall combat, running down walls, these extra terrain-based functions that add to the acrobatics. And I will say, I also feel that Peter feels just a smidge clunkier than Miles. And I almost feel like that's on purpose. He's got like half the animations because he doesn't dive backwards, which I'm not sure why that'd be a Miles exclusive thing, other than the exaggerated black swagger. Like one of his diving tricks is solving a Rubik's Cube, which is dope, I like it. It's in character, but when Miles has either a flip and taking out his phone, it kind of feels like they downgrade Peter for the sake of making Miles better. And it's not just in the movement of this game. And don't get me wrong, it kind of works because I really like Miles in this game. But I think the way his character is made to be better is kind of lopsided, because this still feels like a more Peter-centered story. So I just find it odd that they make him less enjoyable to play and less likable than his previous appearance. And this kind of goes into the combat too. While the changes are cool, I mean, I'll say it how it is. The first game's combat just feels more like I'm being Spider-Man. After Miles' solo game, one of the biggest questions people had is how they'd balance Miles' new abilities with Peter's lack thereof. And I don't know if claws were the way to go. Don't get me wrong. I love the hype moments in Aura. But after the 300th claw strike, some of it kind of gets stale and it loses its luster, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it could have been suit specific, I think, and that would have made the claws way more interesting. And I know what you're thinking, dear viewer. What would you have preferred then? Now stay with me. Stay with me now. Web constructs. I love the web construct Spider-Man used to do, and I wish they would do it in modern adaptations. It doesn't have to be as goofy and over the top, and I know it might look unrealistic, but what is a game about a spider-themed superhero fighting animal-themed supervillains, if not a little unrealistic? And even if they didn't go the full construct route, I still think they could have done something cool with just his webbing. Peter's pretty creative and clever, and if they had Miles doing stuff Peter couldn't do, I feel like they should have done the same for him, in the form of the long-time experience with his powers and gadgets without just slapping giant claws on his back. And I also just don't think that the claw abilities are as creative and cool as Miles' lightning, or even the symbiote moves. The claws are usually saved for events, so just to have them on the whole time felt kind of when all was said and done. I feel the combat is good, but overall less Spider-Man-like, and actually leaves less room for expression in that regard. And again, I don't mean when people are just pressing a bunch of bullshit and calling it skill. I'm talking about the moments of the free flow that make it feel like you're watching a Spider-Man movie. Anyway, that kind of went on a tangent, but moving on to the story and characterization. One, I still think Miles is being touted as the new hip Spider-Man on the block, which comes to the detriment of Peter's character. And while I still enjoy Peter's characterization in this game to some degree, he suffers from a lot of what I think is the problem with modern Spider-Man. I don't know where people got the idea that Spider-Man is supposed to be annoying. Yeah, he's chatty and yeah, he annoys his villains, but not because he's a cringy dork who doesn't ever stop talking. It's because on top of having to fight a near untouchable enemy flinging dumpsters at him, they gotta hear 100 comments on their appearance and intelligence.
Wow, Sandy, I know a basketball team that could really use a guy your size. Can you dribble, or do you just drool?
Spider-Man is likable. You know how likable you gotta be for someone as abrasive as Wolverine to want you as a birthday buddy?
Well, we have to be talking about one charming motherfucking
Spider.
I mean, he was getting down with Black Cat. See, first game Peter, I can wholeheartedly believe that he was crushing that with no rubber. But this guy?
Spider-Man didn't save me back there. Miles did.
But moving on to Miles, literally the only complaint I have is how Peter has to be downplayed for Miles' betterment and his sometimes atrocious design. But other than that, he seems to have grown since the first game, and for me, this was the best he's been in the series. I won't spend too much time on any of the other characters because I think everyone else was pretty solid, but I will point out, Kraven was done super well. I don't know if he interacted with the Spider-Man enough before getting packed up by Venom for my taste, but I think he was still great. I didn't find MJ that annoying in the first game. I'd say she was even pretty enjoyable other than her missions at times, but she's better and worse in different areas of part 2, and that's all I'll say about that. And whoo, boy, Venom probably the biggest curveball from this game's story. I mean, it was alright, story-wise, I guess. Venom feels like separate from Harry as a character. They don't feel symbiotic. I mean, I don't know, that could just be me sipping from the fucking Eddie Brock juice, but whatever, right? Moving on though, everything else about Venom was pretty much that gas. He feels threatening. I like he's got that Hulking design, so that was dope. I guess 2 last things before I wrap up here. There was a lot of cut content that I feel would have really helped this game, and you could kind of feel it throughout the game. I even noticed it during my first playthrough with the rose-tinted glasses and all that. A lot of spots felt unfinished or like sewn together. Like that moment in the trailer with Peter and Miles teaming up to fight Venom through the city was supposed to be something playable if I'm not mistaken. And other bosses like Riot again, if I remember correctly, and just random cut content like the trophy room Kraven has of Spider-Man villains. Like, you know they get killed because the game tells you, but it doesn't get treated like a big deal at all. Like, I wouldn't blame someone if they didn't notice that the first time around. But yeah, I just wish more stuff would have made the cut. Like suits too, I think the selection is weaker than both the previous games. The chroma variants of some of the suits are dope. I hope they do more of that in the next one, but still, to this day, it feels like a lot of staple suits are missing. I will say the ending sets up a very promising third installment, so I'm praying they stick the landing. And regardless, this is still one of my favorite game series of all time. As of the writing of this video, I'm seeing a resurgence in discourse around this game. Some saying they don't know why people say it's bad, others replying their opinions and such. And what I can say about it overall is that Spider-Man 2 was a good game, but had some qualities that didn't live up to expectations. And I guess before I finally wrap up, I want to briefly look to the future and what I hope they get right with Part 3. One, with Silk being set up for Part 3, I don't even know how that's going to work, so I ain't even going to touch it. But Norman having the animosity for Spider-Man built up in this game and Doc Ock being brought back, story-wise, it looks like it's going to be a slam dunk. And I know this is super unrealistic, but I kind of hope the Clouds don't get brought back in favor of some shit with actual sauce. And I've seen a lot of good gameplay suggestions from fans, and bad, so take it with a grain of salt. But I hope the team behind Part 3 at least takes some community feedback. I definitely left a ton of stuff out, but hey, that just lets you make your own opinion if you decide to play the game. The next time a game comes around the corner, please make Peter cool again.
You know me, clumsy Petey Parker. Deuces.
Yes, anyone can wear the mask and be a spider-themed crime fighter, but not everyone can be Spider-Man. It's what Peter Parker specifically does with that power and responsibility he's been given that makes him the GOAT. And I think that's about it. Thanks for watching.